technology would work fine, but because it's a tech thing, there's always an issue. So my name is Christine Sharp. I am the Strategic Partnership Specialist for the Faculty of Science. Big name. It basically means I kind of have a role in organizing all of the Faculty of Science's outward-facing programs. Programs to the community, programs to industry. They all come out of kind of a one-woman office who's part of a gigantic team, who I will introduce to you shortly. But I'll be your MC kind of for the course of the info session. A few housekeeping items first. In case of an emergency, the exits are there, and there's one also behind the washrooms there. We will go out to the main area, turn left, and go into the professional faculties building, or the admin building, if you know it by that name. We don't plan on having an emergency tonight, just so you know. Second, if you want access to the Wi-Fi and you're not from the university, it's AirUC Guest. You sign in and it will text you a code. If it doesn't work the first time, just keep trying. It's about a 50% success rate, so just believe and it'll happen. Third is, if you need a washroom, there's actually washrooms in this room. So they're kind of behind the coffee. They're in the little side door over there. So before I keep rambling on, I'm going to introduce you to kind of the Technovation 2020 team. So if you're part of this program last year, we have some staffing changes this year, so people have changed roles. So as I introduce them to you, they'll probably just stand up and wave. And at some point in time, we'll all probably be up here rambling away. So, Laura, who is the new Technovation Regional Ambassador. She'll be talking shortly. Yay, me. So we have Leanne, who is our resident Technovation Assistant, as well as she's an alumni of the program, so she'll be talking later. We have Stephen Mosey, who's our Associate Dean, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Faculty of Science. And then Ashley, who's on the camera, who is the Events Coordinator Extraordinaire, who provides everyone with cookies and coffees and fun things at the pitch competition. I know! Woo! Ashley's the best! And so to formally welcome you to this evening's event, pass it over to Steve.
All right, so thank you very much for coming out tonight. It's my pleasure to welcome you here on behalf of the Faculty of Science at the University of Calgary. We will be the host of the on-campus programming that supports the Technovation experience in, I guess, the Southern Alberta region. Before I get going on with the program, though, I did want to take the opportunity to acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands of the people of the Treaty 7 region in Southern Alberta, which includes Blackfoot Confederacy, Tsuut'ina First Nation, and also the Stoney Nakoda. The city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. So in the Faculty of Science, one of our taglines, you can see, is Curiosity Sparks Discovery, and I think relevant to tonight is that discovery then leads to innovation. And we're expecting a lot of innovative solutions to come out of the program this year, as always. Before I talk any bit more, I just wanted to quickly check. So in the audience, do we have any former participants in Technovation? All right. Okay, so those were former girls, former parents, mentors, teachers who've been in the program before. Okay, and then who has not been part of Technovation before? Put your hands up, nice and. Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, welcome to all, and welcome especially, but also to those who are new. I'm glad you could come. So you'll see as we go through this presentation, Technovation 2020 is quite different from anything in the past. We've streamlined it, made it, I think, a little bit more fun for the girls and also a little clearer in terms of what we're going to do in terms of our support. And I just really quickly want to mention that as the Associate Dean for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, bringing in more people from science that, well, frankly, don't look like me is one of my goals. And as part of that, Technovation is a really big part of that. It's one of our favorite programs that we run, and we really like bringing members of the community onto campus and doing a lot of these coding activities, getting experience, pitching ideas, getting introduced to the innovation ecosystem. So we're really excited to host this and to have you as part of it. So I'm going to stop because you're not here for me. The next thing then you're going to hear from is Dr. Laura Olberg, an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science here at the Faculty of Science in the Faculty of Science. Long day. And she is going to be the Technovation 2020 Regional Ambassador. So please join me in welcoming Laura up on stage.
Awesome. Okay, I will use my teaching voice and broadcast to the back as best I can. As Steve mentioned, my name is Laura Olberg. I'm an assistant professor in computer science. And my specialty, in case you're curious, is human-computer interaction, which includes little robots, like my little robot friend. Ask me later if you want to learn more about robot dogs. So sort of to frame all of this, all that is not nature has been designed by people. So if you look out in the world around you, if it's not a tree, if it's not growing, if it's not alive, if it's not a rock that was made from the earth, then humans probably had some role in making it exist in this world. So buildings that you see, roads that were built, all of the technology around us, that was all built by people. And it's important to sort of recognize that design can take a bunch of different forms. So architects build buildings. You've got engineers and product designers who design cool little products around us. And then you have interaction designers and computer scientists who are doing things like developing mobile apps that you might use on a day-to-day basis to figure out how the layout of your new office should be, or learn a new language, all kinds of things. So ultimately, computer scientists control how technology both appears and behaves. So it's not just about the infrastructure of technology, that's important, but it's also important to think about the role that technology has in our lives. And that's both the physical appearance that it might have. So this is the Willow Garage PR2. It's a refrigerator-sized beast of a robot. That's an assistive robot. It's intended to help older people do tasks and live with them in their homes. So the computer scientists who were thinking about this robot didn't just make the robot, but they also thought through scenarios of why do we want this robot? What could this robot do? How might we interact with this robot in the future? So part of what's important in computer science is not just think about the technology, but think about why we want that technology and what impact can it have in the world. And in practice, we use technology all over the place. So it's not just in buildings indoors, we also use technology on the road if we're trying to figure out where we are in an unfamiliar place. We use it in nature if we're going on a hike to perhaps figure out where we are, or what is that plant that's sitting in front of me, or, oh, I had an idea, I need to capture it somehow. You also see it in professional settings, everywhere from hospitals, which have tons of information about your patient medical information, different imaging you might have, different data you might collect about your blood sugar level if you're diabetic. You can also think about how plumbers might use information, how people who are social workers might use information. All of these places where people are trying to get something done, use information in a meaningful way, often comes back to technology. So when we think about how should technology be in the future, usually the first place that I start as a computer scientist is thinking, how might something like a mobile phone app help someone? So starting from the actual problem of the situation that someone is in and asking, how can technology potentially help? And this can even go drastic. You can think about more than just helping someone in one instance, but potentially have a broader impact and even change their life, change how they do things generally. Which sounds great, but you also have to think about how you're going to get there. So it's more than just what's the clever idea, but how do I arrive at that clever idea? And in the case of Technovation, it's stepping back and saying, well, what are the problem-solving skills? What are the techniques? What knowledge do I need to build to help me get from seeing things in the world that I want to fix with technology, understanding how that technology might then be designed, and then thinking through how I might build it or communicate it or show it to somebody else to potentially see if it can keep moving forward. So it's with that framing that I sort of think about Technovation, not just as, let's learn how to build technology, but let's learn how to think about technology in a way that can have an impact in the world. So with that, I'm going to pass this along to Leanne, who's one of our alumni, to talk a bit more about the program itself and the kinds of impact it has had. So come on, Leanne.
So what exactly is Technovation? And I feel like a big part of what Laura has been speaking about was that Technovation is that tool that allows those young girls and even mentors to help girls get involved in technology. So our mission in Technovation is we empower girls and families to identify community problems and using tech and engineering solutions to develop their problem solving skills. And we have a winning team in the audience actually that was able to make it all the way down to San Francisco. And I feel like that's a really good picture to have everybody kind of see that, you know, this competition isn't just Calgary based, but it's a global competition. And in order to, you know, develop a solution that is impactful, we should try to kind of shoot our like possibilities of getting that app out there to the whole world. And you can see that in Technovation, we have reached almost like all the continents in the world, and we have almost 130,000 young people and parents served worldwide, as well as the 14,000 volunteers and mentors that are trained for the program. So I just wanted to touch on my experience with Technovation. So why did I get involved? So I got involved in my last year of high school, which isn't as impressive as some girls that are like as young as 10, but at least I kind of put my foot out there. But without my mentors, I wouldn't have been inspired to try to put forth like a idea and have even the motivation to really develop a product. I worked with along a team, and they, you know, the mentors were the people who held our hand like every step of the way, really showed us how to do everything. And for us, like, we had no experience about how to make a business plan, how to code an app. And, you know, and I feel like with the mentors, it helped them because they were able to dabble in the entrepreneurship realm, and it helped us to kind of make our dreams come true that we never knew we had, like, we never knew that we like could have thought of. And so we produced the Leftovers app. Some of you guys might know the not-for-profit Leftovers. We partnered up with them to help develop their app. And what we did was that we wanted to rescue food because there's so much leftover food in the world. And pretty much this app just automates the whole volunteer connecting to the food waste and all, or food leftovers, and bringing it to those in need. And, you know, the team in the audience, they made a mental health app, and I feel like there's so many possibilities for Calgary to come up with new ideas, especially for their apps, and to see how they can make it happen.
The details, shall we say, that was the word I was looking for, of the program. As I go through this, if you have any questions, just pretend like you're in school. Some of you are still in school, and put up your hand. I want you to ask your questions as we go through, because sometimes you're not clear on something and it'll be worse if I move on, or I might be covering it all later on. So just put them up, shout them out as we go through, because I'm actually going to explain what Technovation is and how it actually functions as a program. And there are some nuances in here. So there's kind of three different groups of people involved in Technovation. The first is Technovation Girls. So these are actual girls ages 10 to 18. And they form teams, and these teams actually identify a problem in the community that they want to solve using an app. They learn how to code. They actually create a functional app by the end. And if you're old enough, you actually make a business plan to go along with your app. And then in the end, you pitch it at our regional pitch competition. So those are the girls. We have mentors. So as a Technovation mentor, your job is to really support and help the team as they develop the app. These mentors, they can be business people, they can from downtown, you could have a startup, you could be a computer science student on campus, a grad student. A mentor is just really someone who's going to guide these girls through the curriculum. It helps if you know how to code. You don't need to, because we're going to help everyone learn how to code through the course of this program. And that's one of the big things we've changed from previous years. It is a time commitment. Over the course of the 6 months, it's about 50 hours, because these girls meet every week to develop your app. And so we have some of our alumni here, and they can actually attest to how many hours they put in to make a functional app. And if you're not willing to commit to the full amount of being a mentor, we also have judges that we need for the regional pitch competition, so that's another way you can still be involved. And a mentor can also be a parent. You can have multiple roles in this. You can mentor multiple teams. If you're like, whoa, that's a lot of hours, but me and my colleague want to do it, you can actually mentor together. So you can actually share the workload between multiple people. It's a really flexible system. The third group of people is the parents. Parents, this would not be possible without you. I know we have tons of parents in this audience. You are basically the support network for these girls, because learning to code is hard. Learning to write a business plan is hard. This is a lot of work. And you are basically the cheerleader. You're taking them to school. You're doing a lot of the organization as part of this. So those are kind of the three main roles in the Technovation program. Teams are composed of anywhere from 1 to 5 girls. 5 is the maximum you're allowed, no more than 5. There are 2 divisions in the Technovation program. There is the junior division, and those are girls aged 10 to 18 as of August 1st, 2020. And sorry, 10 to 14, thank you. And then senior division, which is 15 to 18. And for those who are writing furiously, we will be sharing the PowerPoint presentation. It'll all be going online after this, so the information will be there. And these teams meet at schools, they can meet off campus. It's really up to the parents and the teachers to decide where these teams meet. You can meet with your mentor online. We had tons of teams last year who were like, hey, we want to do our Technovation Club over lunch at school, and their mentors actually Skyped in. We had teams from Medicine Hat last year, from Okotoks, and their mentors were from Calgary. So they really did everything online through Skype and then communication with Slack. A bit different this year. I know in past years, the Faculty of Sciences, kind of paired people together based on their availability. We're not doing that anymore. The whole university is kind of changing how we structure programs. So we're really trying to encourage people to meet online or at their schools under their teacher supervision. Okay, oh, look, I just covered this. And to help kind of facilitating this, if you're signing up as a mentor, we encourage you in your bio to kind of put your availability, if you like Skype or Google Hangouts, as well as kind of what quadrant of the city you live in. Because if you're like, hey, I really want to do this in person, come to their school and meet with their teacher and their team, it helps if you live nearby. So you're not driving. It takes me an hour to get to the southeast as an example from here. So to really kind of make that finding each other a lot easier this year. I think I covered all that. So once you have a team or once you want to get involved, every single person must sign up through the Technovation website. Technovation itself is a standalone online program. So if you want to join Technovation, you join the Technovation Challenge program online. You basically sign up, you make a team. It's really easy. They have full instruction manuals on how you actually register. All the girls, depending on their age, parents often register them. There's parental consent forms. You do that all through the Technovation website. It's all online. There's no paper forms whatsoever with Technovation. Files. And then once you're signed up, you can actually link to the curriculum. So I'll show you what this looks like. So this is me logged in as me. But once you have an account, you can actually follow the curriculum, and this tells you, I'm a team, I'm from a school, I want to find a mentor. So that actually gives you an entire curriculum worksheet on how to find a mentor using the online Technovation platform. Because especially in we're very fortunate in Calgary that, people can drive and mentor people, but if you're in a more remote area, all of this is done entirely online. So that's kind of an example of how that works. So does anyone have any questions about how you kind of sign up? This is for the online Technovation program. This is totally separate from the Faculty of Science. This is just pure Technovation Challenge online. Trying to make sure everyone understands the difference. Okay, so there's a few key dates. Registration for Technovation will open on October 10th, we are told, or mid-October, but the 10th. The official 12-week season starts January 14th. The official start of season is kind of their arbitrary, if we say it's a 12-week program, it has to start 12 weeks before the pitch competition. Once you're registered online on October 10th, yeah, just down here. Once you're registered online, you can immediately start working on the curriculum. One of the big pieces of feedback we've gotten in the past few years is that 12 weeks is not a lot of time to learn how to code and code now. I see a lot of nods from the people in there. Start early. There's a reason we are having this info session now in October, and there's a reason when I show you the Faculty of Science programming that we're starting running coding workshops in November. Because the more time you have to do this, the easier and more fun it will be. And I'm sure some of the alumni who are in the audience would be happy to talk to some of the new people about what all of the work involved in this was. So you don't actually have to have a team fully formed until mid-March. So mid-March is the last day to actually sign up online through the Technovation website. So there's oodles of time to sort this out. And then there's oh yeah. So the question was, do you have to have 5 people in your group? The answer is nope. You can be a team of 1. You can be all by yourself. You can be a team of 2. You can be a team of up to 5. Okay? And I should have clarified, a team can be any group of girls who want to come together. A team does not have to be from a school. It doesn't have to be a family. It can be anyone who wants to work together to build an app. 1 to 5. So there's an online submission for Technovation. So Technovation has an online judging panel. So you get judged in your region. And if you're the top team from your region, you move on to the semifinals. And if you're the top team in each division, I think North America is entirely one, then you move on to the grand final, your top 6 in the world pitch competition in Silicon Valley. So that's what happened to the robot unicorns who are sitting in the second row. Stand up and wave. They're wearing their medals. They actually, So last year they won our regional pitch competition. They won the semifinals, and then they went down to Silicon Valley and came 3rd, I recall. So top 3 in the entire world of all of the junior teams, which is super awesome. So we, as Faculty of Science, also host the regional pitch competition in May, which I'll tell you about more. We actually get to live pitch. So all of this Technovation stuff is online. We do the live pitching one. Okay. So they kind of have, it's a bit convoluted of a program, but they have a very nice infographic, and they even lay out kind of different goals and how you want to be at certain points in time. But all of this starts in January for the 12-week program. We kind of all shifted that back as to what we're doing as a faculty. Seeing some photos. And then just to give you an idea of what actually comes out of this at the end, and this is different than previous years, so if you were coming back, they have changed the submission requirements. The team basically makes a pitch video. So this is a 3 to 5 minute video. They have to have an app name. You have to have a description of your app. You need a team photo. You're all looking awesome. You need a summary. You actually have to submit your source code so they can make sure that your app actually functions. And you need some screenshots. And then if you're a senior team, so if you're age 15 to 18, you actually have to make a business plan. There's no more demo video. So last year you had to submit 2 videos. It's down to 1 this year. So they've actually made the submission a bit easier. And then we have a different requirement for our pitch competition. So this is kind of the whole online Technovation program. The Faculty of Science's role in all of this is to really provide in-person support for you to complete the online Technovation program. So we kind of took the feedback that we've been given from the last 3 years and kind of changed how we're implementing our programs this year into something we think is simpler but a lot more effective. And the Faculty of Science programming is entirely optional. You're not required to come to any of our workshops. We're really just here to help you along the way. It's awesome if you do. We highly recommend you do because we will help you with the coding massively, but we're not going to say, hey, if you want to go through this online program, you need to come to everything here. But if you really should, because it's helpful. So to start out, I'm just going to run through what all of our workshops are. This infographic is online. The descriptions are all online on the Faculty of Science Technovation website, and I will be sending this out. Well, this will also be online after this. So we're at the info session. I don't need to talk about that. Our first workshop is mid-November, and this is the ideation workshop. This is 2 hours, possibly in the same room, depending on our sign-up numbers. And this is really to help teams start brainstorming issues in their community, to really get you thinking about what's this app going to solve. Okay? And some of the really interesting apps we've come out there, they've actually partnered with different community groups and different not-for-profits. So something that we'd like to bring more in this year is actually that community connection. So our plan is to actually have different not-for-profits from around the city at this ideation session to really start talking to the girls about what are the problems they have from all their different areas, to really kind of spoke those ideas of what you might want to solve. So that's our mid-November workshop. And then we're going right to coding. A lot of the feedback we heard is that the coding's really, really hard, and it takes a long time to learn. So we're running our very first coding workshop end of November. And this is the level 1 App Inventor. So App Inventor is the name of the program that a lot of teams use to actually code their apps. So we're starting, this level 1 is the base level. This assumes you have no coding experience. You might need some help getting the software working on your computer. It's open to everyone. Mentors, you can come. Teachers, you can come. It's really for the girls. And that's really to get everyone starting on the same level. So just to really make sure everyone kind of gets those fundamentals of how to code. Okay. And then starting in January, we're basically doing it all again. So January is when the official Technovation program starts. So we're re-offering the ideation and the App Inventor as a single day. So ideation will be in the morning, App Inventor will be in the afternoon. If you've already come to the November ones, there's no need to come. Or if you're like, hey, I'm really struggling with this coding, I could use another round of this, sign up and come to these workshops. And then early February, we're actually doing App Inventor 1 again, in case your team only started in January. And then App Inventor 2, which is kind of the next level. So App Inventor 2 is a bit more advanced, and it builds on what you learned in the first one. Yeah.
App Inventor 2 must have completed App Inventor 2 to attend.
Yes, that should say you must have completed App Inventor 1 to attend. Or if you were a participant in the past years and you just want to build more on that, I'm sure we can have a little thing there. But yes, that should be must have completed App Inventor 1. There's always a typo. But thank you for pointing that out. And these are kind of like morning, afternoon sessions. Another thing we're going to be doing with the, myself or Leanne will be at all of the workshops, and we're going to talk to you, and if it's like, hey, we've done 1 and 2, and we're still struggling, okay, we'll add more. This is a very flexible schedule. Because we're starting so early, we have a lot more flexibility in how we're doing things, and we have an awesome team this year. So it's like, hey, everyone's struggling with this, okay, we'll run an evening session on this, just to really help everyone along more effectively. In March, we're having a bunch of drop-in sessions. These are basically bring your problems to us, and we will be here to help you. There's no set curriculum for these. It's basically like, hey, we have a bunch of people who are struggling with coding. Okay, we'll book a computer lab, bring your laptops. We'll have a bunch of computer science there to help you with your coding. You're struggling with your business plan. Okay, we're going to bring in some business folks to help you along there. So it really offers that flexibility in helping you with the parts that you're struggling with the most. New this year, we're going to do a how to pitch workshop. So this is how to make your pitch presentation, how to create a video, how to edit a video, how to overcome anxiety, because standing up in front of a room full of people is super scary. Tell me about it. I'm in front of you and they're all on video this year. So that's going to be in the how to pitch workshop. So this is going to be early March. And then our third drop-in session is, do you want help on your pitch? We're going to bring in a bunch of public speaking experts, coding help, business help, really that help that you need to succeed. And if we find we need more of these drop-in help sessions, we'll run more of them. We're pretty flexible this year. So the next date on here, so this is your online submission. So this is the Technovation online submission deadline. And then the last is the Southern Alberta Regional Pitch Competition, which is Saturday, May 2nd. It's booked Saturday, May 2nd, all day. New this year, it will be at the Calgary Central Library downtown. So you will be pitching in the performance hall, and we'll have all the apps on display in the welcome gallery. So you get to pitch to everyone. So it'll be awesome. We're taking it off campus so that you guys can really showcase all of the super awesome, cool apps you've made to more than just your parents and us, which is fine. But bigger audience. You put a lot of effort into this program. Let's show it off. Are there any questions? Yes?
Can girls pitch in advance prior to this in another virtual?
Yep, so at the drop, there's a third drop, there's a how to pitch session, which will include practice pitches. And then in the drop-in pitch help session, we'll be running through practice pitches with people. But there'll be no, formal everyone practice pitch on this day. If that is something that we're like, hey, we have a bunch of people who really want to pitch in front of everyone, we can probably organize, okay, come into this room in the evening and let's do a mock pitch.
So last year you had every Saturday every month
Yeah.
you had the practice pitches. We found those super helpful.
Okay.
Like that is invaluable. The girls, you could see their improvement.
Yeah.
So that's basically what you're gonna have as well.
Anyone want to comment on that? We're still working on, honestly, we're still working on the structure of what's going to be in these. And if you guys are like, this was awesome, we can definitely integrate that into it. Because we're still working on the content of these. But if it's like, yeah, we're doing this at all these, we'll implement kind of where everyone actually stands up and actually says, here's what we did.
That it was
Yeah.
really invaluable
Okay.
because it helped them speak in front of others and
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I like that. We can definitely integrate aspects of that into these for sure. Yes. Yeah. So there's correct. So they are going to happen, but you have to say yes. So in past years they were mandatory, and that became a bit of a. It worked for some people and it didn't work for other people. So this year we're making it optional so that if it works for you and your team, fantastic, come. If it doesn't work, you're not going to be penalized as part of the system. Follow-up question?
Yeah, so how do we know that the practices we not look at these practice so see whether they have exercise.
Yeah, so when all these workshops happen, all the teams are together. The workshops are not, you work on this, like they're working on their own, but everyone will be in the same room, and like when we do the, how to pitch practice, everyone will be in front of everyone else. With the coding workshops, everyone's in the same room, they're all solving the same problems. It's not kind of all segregated, everyone's together at these. But you do have to opt in to the program. Yes?
Okay, so sorry, these workshops are separate to the mentorship portion of this?
Yeah.
That's my first question.
Okay. So these workshops are open to the mentors. So Technovation functions as an online program where mentors register online, teams register online, and you basically connect online. So that's kind of one side of it. Does that make sense? And then the other side of it is we're running a series of workshops to help supplement the online program. Now, say your team is opting in and you're coming to every workshop. Mentors, come to the workshops because there's your opportunity to meet with your team every 2 weeks, right? And then keep them on track and use the workshops as a way of working with them through them. And hey, if you don't know how to code, you're going to learn how to code through the process of this. If you're not very comfortable pitching, you're going to learn some pitching skills. With all these workshops, we encourage the teams and the mentors to come. Does that make sense? Yeah. Oh,
Sorry,
sorry.
my follow-up question
Yeah.
is, are the mentors predominantly female?
The mentors are the majority of mentors are female. It is not a requirement. Yeah, the only female requirement in the program is the girls. But historically, the majority of our mentors are female. It's just the group the program attracts. But there is no mentors can be anyone who wants to be involved in the program. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yours.
So the answer, so being out to online, you go like when you get the
No. So mentors also apply online, not through us. Yeah. Yeah, we're putting it all through the online Technovation system here. The university as a whole is stepping back from is taking a step back in how it handles all of our programs that involve putting people together, I guess you could say. In the fact that we're not doing a kind of okay, you signed up as a mentor, Laura, I'm going to pair you with this team, and the university will make that happen. The university as a whole is not doing that anymore with any program. But we can say, Laura wants to be a mentor. Laura has signed up online. You guys have a team. You can match yourselves online. If that makes sense. Do you want to add anything to that, Steve? Or
Sure.
Steve can comment more on that.
So the capacity for that matchmaking was always present in the Technovation interface. What we did in the past was actually get involved with that, what I'll call matchmaking for lack of a better word. We've stepped back from that. So we stepped back from going out to schools, finding the girls. We've stepped away from identifying mentors. So all that is now handled through the website, the Technovation website, and it's sort of the responsibility. And then my suggestion will be to parents, work with the girls and that mentor to figure out what schedule works for you, how you meet. Do you only meet online? If you're meeting in person, what does that look like? Who supervises that? But again, that's nothing to do with us. So the Faculty of Science, our bit is all of this workshops that you come on campus, and then then the mentors are welcome to come. The teachers, if there's teachers involved, if there are parents involved, all those people are welcome to come. But that's the only part we're part of. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Well, that gets back to my point just now, that really I do put it on the teachers and parents to interact with those mentors. In fact, we kind of learned that the way that it works right now, there is no need for a police sector check, and that's not us. And so I encourage you to just figure out for each team, figure out what you're comfortable with, right? So work with a person you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with them, pick someone else. But we, at the university level, are not going to be part of that process.
I can
for
add.
good reasons, obvious reasons, I hope.
To add one line to that, the Technovation rule is that no mentor and girls are ever alone. That's actually written in all the forms that you sign online when you agree to sign up for Technovation and go through all the training. Like, the Technovation rule is that no one's alone with anyone. That's actually written in their mandates. There was a question over. No? Okay. I have a couple more slides. Yeah. Just about how you actually register for the Faculty of Science programs. Because they're not mandatory, it will be registration based. For those who were part of our program in the past and remember the giant pile of paperwork, that is nil this year. How many of you have ever signed up your kids through Active Living to do a summer camp? No one does summer camp. Anyone done summer camp? It's now that exact same system. So all of our programs are actually being run through the Minds in Motion summer camp program. So if you already have an account with Active Living, you're one step ahead of everyone. So you just make an account with them, and then our program will be there. So when you register for the first one, you do the one-page consent form to basically bring a student to campus, and you're done. And then you can actually just register for these workshops. They'll all be listed there under the Technovation program. And they will all be listed at least 2 weeks before the first one of the month. So all the November programs will be up mid-October. There's no December programs. All of the January programs will be up early December. We're going to bulk release them ahead of time as we get them set up. Yeah?
So once we sign up, then emails will come out to us reminding us to sign up for these?
Yes. Yeah. So all of our email communication this year is through the YYC Technovation at UCalgary email account. It's not going through any of ours or through Laura's as a regional ambassador. We've centralized it all so that everyone knows what's going on. And all of so as the regional ambassador, we can see who signs up for Technovation online. So if you're part of the online Technovation program, we know because we are the regional ambassadors. So we can basically say, hey, you've all signed up. Here are this month's registration links for all of these programs. Sign up here. And once you sign up for the first one and do that consent form, you, in theory, don't have to do it again for all the other ones. So it's way less paperwork, and it's all online, which is awesome for people who had to sign many copies of paperwork in previous years. Okay, so your next steps after this, form a team. Start thinking about it. If your school's involved, awesome. If your school's not involved, you can still form a team. You just do the online sign up. And if you have any questions, you can email us. Teams, when you get registered online, you can see all the mentors who have also signed up line, and you can start talking to each other, see if it works between you, see if things click, have a Skype meeting. You can start working through the curriculum. Once you have an account, the curriculum's all there that you can access. Whether you're a mentor or a team, doesn't matter. The majority of the new curriculum is up. And then come October, near end of October, all of the November programs will come out from the Faculty of Science. Yes?
Do they still have to get a teacher to sponsor them, or do they just register directly and sponsor a teacher for school?
You do not need a teacher sponsor at your school. It helps if you can meet during school, like lunches and that. I think a bunch of teams are doing. But a sponsor can be anyone. A sponsor is just a person to put the people together and just make sure all the communication with the mentors and everything is okay. But there's no teacher requirements. Yeah.
It would make it a lot easier if you have a teacher.
Yes.
Much easier, because then they can, for example, find a classroom that the kids can meet in after school or over lunchtime. Our problem last year, we didn't have a teacher mentor because we're approaching schools, so we ended up meeting in the public library. But it was more difficult getting the equipment to work with. So if you can find a teacher, it would smooth the process.
The only caveat to that is if you're working through a community group, then you have a comparable person to a teacher, and maybe you're used to meeting at that community center or other things regularly. But I agree, if there's somewhere that you can meet regularly, schools are often it, but it's not a requirement.
I'm just thinking about the registration, so
Yeah.
do we register as a team, or would each student register on their own?
Each,
So that-
yeah. So
You
each,
kind of want to keep the communication coming out of one central area, I guess. So that
Yeah.
everyone's on the
so each, the way the consent forms would be, each girl would have to register on there because their parents have to do
And that's how
the
they connect to the team.
consent. Oh, so are you talking about our programs or the Technovation program?
Technovation
Ah,
program.
okay. Yes. So there's the second guide is build a team if you're in the Technovation curriculum. So this actually guides you through yada yada creating a team. So if you want to join an existing team, so say one of the girls has already made a team, anyone can join that team. Or this actually guides you through, I'm the first one from my group to sign up. I want to create a team and how to do that. Yeah. Yes.
What skill sets do the mentors bring to the table? Is it organization or is it coding?
Are there any mentors in the room who want to comment on that? Yeah.
Well, here's a split between business and so, organization, keeping everyone on track is kind of a big part of it. That's how we're going to decide on what we're trying to do.
Does anyone else want to add to that who's been a mentor?
Actually, a question about that.
Yeah.
For the mentors, is there anything paperwork or something from the website that helps the mentor?
Yes, great question. So when you sign up as a mentor, there is mentor training. Something we've done in the past was hold mentor training here on campus. We currently don't have one scheduled, but we can easily add one to the program. I can find out if people find that useful. We're also putting together, Leanne is actually making kind of a mentor guidebook this year to give out to mentors. It's basically like, here's an example timeline, here's some resources you might find helpful. Kind of putting that all together. Did you want to comment on that?
Add on to that, we did have a booklet offered to mentors out front.
Yeah, there's a few copies floating around. And Technovation does have guidebooks, like resources online as to how to work with youths, how to do all that. And there is, I'm just gonna stop talking there. Yeah.
Just add that, like, I think having two mentors per team would be really good. So I know how much time I put in just on the business side.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh yeah, it's yeah. I think if you can rank like double mentors, I think would be amazing. So one of the big problems we had when we did split them in previous years was numbers. As the program is growing and growing, we have more teams that are interested. Every year we're actually short mentors, and we struggle to find mentors. And so this year we're going to try to have we're not making it mandatory to have 2 per team, and we're going to see how it works, kind of thing. But that's not to stop you from signing up as 2 people to a team, and a team having 2 mentors. But we're not splitting it business technical this year. Yeah. Yeah. This is the slide to remind me to say this. So part of our whole making things easier and more accessible to everyone this year is that all of the content we're going to be posting online from all of the workshops. So the PowerPoint slides that I used today will be posted online on the Faculty of Science Technovation website. We're making a video. If it looks anywhere remotely good, it's our first one. Give us time. It will be online, as well as all of the workshops that we're running on the weekends. If possible, that will all either be streamed while it's happening, and we're trying to find a way for teams who are remote to actually sign in and participate remotely. And if we can make that work, that's a goal of Laura's. Is so that if you're in Medicine Hat, you don't have to drive to Calgary, or if you're in different areas of the city, you don't have to make it to campus for that day. And it's really part of making everything as accessible to any group who wants to be involved as possible. So we're really trying to push all of our content in that online, at least after the fact, if not during. And then if you have questions, even if you have one of our email accounts, we're really trying to put everything through YYC Technovation. This way, we can also kind of be like, hey, everyone's asking the same questions, or everyone wants the same help, because we can all see the emails. Okay, let's help everyone out by adding this session, or sending everyone about this. We're really trying to minimize the number of messages that go out to all of you, but make them really impactful. So if we can kind of put it through one communication stream. Yeah. No? Okay. Okay. Any remaining questions for anyone? All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yes. In blue.
For the drop-in sessions at the university, I just want some clarification about our students, or children, or how the teachers and the students.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to come to the drop-in sessions, or would I have to shout?
Speak. That's
Like,
looking.
so it's, thought. What prompted that?
Yeah.
Question was the fact that you said that the students aren't able to.
Right. Well, so okay. So there's the. Yeah. Let's go pass it off.
We would need one team member, who's like one of the adults associated with the team, to bring the girls to the room and pick them up at the end. So what we wouldn't want is 4 girls getting on 4 different buses and showing up here, and then just going off in the lane. So we're going to need sort of a sign in, sign out kind of thing, but you wouldn't have to stay. That's probably what I'm most comfortable with. And does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
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 Because again, it really is about that. Leave them in our group care, and then take them away from that group care.
And we have the same standard on our end. So
Yes.
say we have computer science students running a workshop. Well, no single computer science, like they're never alone with the teams. Like one of us is there, and we all have our police checks, and we're all certified by the university to do this. So we're not leaving your students alone in a room with people we don't know. That's not how this works. Yeah.
What about a parent volunteer with police friends?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, parent volunteer is fine.
To bring them in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's.
I'm just double
Again,
checking
you
with
work
the
that out with the team, but it has to be an adult trusted by the team, shows up.
Yeah, so in your question, you were like, does the teacher have to do it? No, one of the parents can do it, as long as everyone's in agreement. Yeah.
So then, like, I'm just trying to like pick up the structure of when you register a team. Is there then like a person of responsibility that gets assigned to that team? Like,
So when when you sign up, like on the Technovation page, so say your daughter signs up and joins the team, and she signs up with her email address. She has to put in your information for you to sign off on permission forms. And then say you want to register, or she wants to register for faculty science coding session 1. It's the same thing. You're the one who has to sign the forms. And so communication kind of gets sent to both. Thanks, you could say. Because it really depends. I mean, there's also a difference. This program runs from 10-year-olds to 18-year-olds. There's always a difference in the email accounts between people as they go across between access to cell phones, driver's licenses. It's kind of, you're trying to design a program with rules to span a very wide age range. Yeah.
So that means I'm the parent or guardian of that girl who is setting up the account, and therefore they will be the person responsible for that girl. So there's not, if I understand correctly, there's not a head adult of the team. Just there are adults floating around supporting those, apart from the guardian who signed off for the minor for that account.
Yeah, it's kind of two levels, I guess. From a pure online consent form perspective, like legal perspective, there is one parent or guardian per child. From a teen perspective, a lot of the teens ended up with a parent, kind of who was leading the charge. Naturally happened. I think that's what, yes, I see Bob is getting a heart back in. And that's kind of what, or a teacher who led the charge. No. All of the correspondence will go to kind of all the email accounts that are registered parents and children. Because a lot of times you'll probably read your email many times further than your child. Yeah. Yes. Oh, the workshop's divided, junior, senior.
Currently, we have them planned to be together, but it's separate. Because we've also often found, I think, in the past that there's very different types of questions and very different types of levels, especially if you have some girls who've already taken computer science courses, and therefore they're often moving through some of the content a little faster. So that is good feedback. We can easily set that up. I'm in the process of making reservations now, so setting up multiple rooms.
Yeah. And it might be possible too, where you have things, everyone starts together, and then you separate depending on what level you're at. We're still working out the details. Yeah.
There's no set programming for the workshops. We're going to be come in and
So for some of them, so like an example, the How to Pitch workshop will be set programming. It will be set programming with certain skills, activities, mock pitches. So there'll be time to learn those things and then time to practice them. And it's the same with like the App Inventor, the coding workshops, the ideation session. It's content practice. And that's where the girls are going to be, seeing what each other are doing and kind of having those check-ins. For things like the drop-in session, that's just you come to us with your problems. Very much so. Yep.
Just curious, how many teams did you have last year?
Last year we had 20 teams. We had 11 senior and 9 junior. So last year was the first year we had junior teams. So the year before we had 12 senior teams, 12 or 13 senior teams. So part of the problem is as we're growing the program, because we really thought it was important to run a full program for junior teams. And as we, thumbs up in the front row, and as we expand our programs, we need to expand our mentor numbers. So that's kind of where our bottleneck currently is actually. So we're trying to see how this year goes, and then we'll kind of see what we do next year in terms of programming. Any other questions? Okay, so that is all we have. Thank you all for coming. We will all stick around for a bit. I know we have past participants who will be here, past mentors. Feel free to chat to. And once the formal Technovation registration opens, you will all get an email from us saying how to register and how to get started. And then when we launch our programs, that will be another email. We're trying not to send a lot of emails. So discrete, structured emails. They'll look nice. I know. We're always like, don't send that. So yeah, we'll all be around if you have any questions. But thank you all for coming, and I hope tons of you participate this year. Woo!